Okay, and I think we can start today's course. Actually, in previous course, I already introduced what is Seaborn, and we can use Seaborn to do so many things. I think the major thing is we can use Seaborn to create a lot of figures to help us to visualize the data and to help us to find out the insights in a quick way. Okay, so what is Seaborn and why it is important and the basic plotting with Seaborn. And in previous course, we just maybe teach one or two plotting approach. And in today's course, I will introduce a lot of data sets and how to analyze that. Okay, so here is previous course we already introduced, but I needed to give you a quick introduction in here. Okay, so here is Seaborn. Maybe you didn't get our previous course. Okay. And in Seaborn there has so many data sets, and in today's course I will also introduce how to use these data sets, and maybe we just pick two or three from this and to show you the function and how to use the data and to analyze that. Okay, and here is bar plot. In previous course we only teach about the bar plot, and you needed to understand why today we needed to use bar plot. Okay, now you need to, because you are analytics, okay, you not just see the figures, you needed to think what's the situation, what's the when we needed to use bar plot. Okay, maybe today you want to compare the different groups and you needed to understand what's the different meaning of this value, and you can through the bar plots and to analyze that. So first of all, we can download the data sets from the Titanic. Okay, in our Seaborn there has many data sets, and Titanic is one of them. And we needed to, I think every time you needed to have an overview with your data set. Okay, maybe not from the Seaborn, maybe you download from the open data platform. And in there, maybe there has so many data sets, but you needed to, when you download it, you needed to analyze their column. Okay, their column. Why we need to have all these columns? Okay, for example, now this Titanic, we needed to understand what's survive. Oh, Titanic, maybe we needed to check they survive or not. So if there's use one, and we will understand, oh, these people will survive. If zero, maybe these people just go died. So that is about survive. And what is P class? Is that the class of each passenger? Because they have a 1, 2, 3. Okay, and why we need to use 1, 2, 3? Is there has other numbers like 4 or 5? We need to check it. Okay, and the sex, age, and the SIBSP. This maybe just check the sibling, and the PRCH maybe this is check the parents, and the fear maybe just check the percentage, how much they fear about this situation, and in box maybe just which where they in box. Okay, and what's the class, who, adults, deck, and in back towns, alive, alone. All these columns you needed to check it. Okay, I think that is really important. So every time when I load the data sets, I will call this data set. Okay, for example, now I use SNS load data set. I use Titanic as T. So if I call T, T will help us to call our Titanic data set. Okay, so they will just show our data set. Okay, and here is the introduction about our data set. And maybe you will think, oh, the data set, because that is a popular data set in our Seaborn, so you can find out the introduction. Okay, I think no worry, because you can also find out some introductions from open data platform, because in the platform there has so many introduction about the data. Okay, and if you can find out the data introduction, maybe you needed to guess that. Okay, guess that by yourself. And now maybe we can just see these figures, and we needed to understand what's the meaning. You can find out one thing is this code is really easy, and we can get a pretty figure in here. So I think in final presentation is not how many figure you give me. It's about what's the insight you wanna deliver. What's the insight you wanna deliver. Okay, because there has too many ways to produce the pretty figure. Okay, but you need to tell me what's the insights you get. For example, if that is the easy figures and you wanna discuss is about first class and the second class and the third, and we needed to understand what's the percentage they are able to survive in Titanic situation. Okay, so we can get a easy understanding is that if today you are the people from the first class and maybe you has a higher percentage to survive from Titanic. Okay, we can get this these thoughts. Okay, and in here maybe you haven't seen the movie Titanic, so you can understand why the men are unable to survive from Titanic. You will feel curious about that. But if you already watch the movie and you will understand, oh, because I know at that time the men just wanna make their woman and the children can survive and they can take a boat in the first time. So men needed to stay in the Titanic. So that is the reasons why men were hard to survive from Titanic. Okay, you will get this situation. You will get this thought. Okay, so you needed to think and you needed to give any introduction explanation about your figures, not merely give me the figures. Okay, I think it gives the figures the easier things. Okay, but you needed to dig into the some things from the figures and you needed to deliver the insight. And in here, maybe you can get more things. Okay, so we use three parameter, and the first one is the class. We not only compare the class, we only compare in which class and who you are. You are a man, you are a woman, you are children, and we will understand the situation. Okay, maybe traditionally we will think older people, if they stay in the first class and they can survive. But now, based on this figure, I can tell you one thing. In the second class, the children is higher percentage to survive from Titanic than our first class, right? So you can see the second class, this green one is our children, and the children can survive from this, okay? And normally we will think if today you are first class and if you are first class, maybe you can a higher percentage to survive from Titanic, and if you are second class, you will have a higher percentage to survive than our third class. But actually, you can see these figures. Okay, in the third class, the men will have a higher percentage to survive from Titanic than second class. Okay, so you needed to try to analyze why we needed to compare these figures and why these figures just like this situation. Okay, you needed to give me your introduction, your explanation. Okay, and I think in previous course, so many people just has a little bit confused how to use CSV data for analyze. Okay, I think it's that if today you want to use CSV data and maybe you can use a traditional way to use your CSV data. But now I want to introduce another approach to use your CSV data. Okay, and it's about, we will teach you how to use pandas to load your CSV data. Okay, and later you needed to find out a data set by yourself and try to use the CSV data. Okay, and here is a data set from the cargo. Okay, this is a USA real estate data set. Okay, and traditionally I want to give you a data set from our Taiwanese open data platform, but actually all the data set is a Chinese version. So I want to deliver you an English version, so I find out the data set from cargo. Okay, so you don't need to find out the data sets from Kaggle, and maybe you can find out some data sets in Taiwan, and if that is interesting. Okay, so if today I wanna download the USA real estate data set, and we need to, in this case, I wanna introduce how to use in the CSV file of the USA real estate data set as an example. And in here you can see the download. We can download it and we can use that. Okay. So first of all, I will import the pandas as PD and import Seaborn as SNS. It's because we needed to have a data visualization through our Seaborn, but first of all, we needed to use pandas to help us to read the CSV. Okay, so you can use this sentence to read our CSV data. Okay, I will show you what is this data. This is our realtor data. In here, maybe he's 200 record, and we can see there has status, bed, bath, lot, city, state, zip code, house size, okay, previous sold price. Okay, we can get all these columns from realtor data. Okay, and so you need to download the data at the beginning, and it's about CSV data. So now maybe I will give you maybe 5 minutes, and you can find out the CSV data, and later I will show you how to use this CSV data. Okay, so now please go to find out your CSV data. Okay, and if you already download the CSV data, and we can keep going. Okay, and maybe you will find out that you can read the CSV data. The first thing you need to check is, do you use the double quote in here? If you don't use the double quote in here, maybe this will guess that is a parameter or the other things. Okay. And the second thing is you need to check, do you put your CSV data in the same folder with your program? Okay, so maybe you can see here, I want to read the realtor data CSV, and I needed to check in here. My program is in here, and my data settings is in here, realtor data CSV. Okay, so they are in the same folder. So this is the reasons why I can read the data from here. Okay, so you need to put them in the same folder. Okay. So the first thing, I can import the pandas as PD, and import the Seaborn SNS, and the realtor is PD read CSV. I just wanna read it. Okay. And we just let it run. Okay. So I can code this data set, and we can see a table in here. And actually I will code this table as a data frame. Data frame is a little bit different from traditional series. Okay, it's a little bit different from the series. What's the difference? I wanna show you one thing is, okay, here. Okay. It's about pandas. Okay. I didn't download it. Okay, maybe just a quick introduction about pandas. Okay, panda is known as the Excel spreadsheet of the Python. Okay, so if today you wanna use structured data, you wanna organize your data, maybe you can use the pandas to organize your data. This can help you to easier to analyze that. Okay, and today if you let's see you want to use numericals, maybe calculation or something, maybe you can use the NumPy. And if today you want us manipulations, capabilities of spreadsheets and the relational database, and actually the pandas will just combine all these features. Okay, this can help us to deal with all these ideas. I think an easier way to understand the panda is traditional. Maybe you will learn the data sets is just like this way, like maybe our height maybe is 180 and our weight is 80 and our name is maybe Anson, maybe like that. That is traditional series. If today you use the other data structure to discuss to analyze the data, maybe it's just like this way. But if today you wanna use the pandas, that can help you organize the data in this way. Okay, and it's about the height, the weight, the name. Okay, 180 and then 70 Alex. Okay, one way is just like this, is a series, and the other is like a table, like our Excel, like our spreadsheet, and we will call this as data frame. So this is the reason why today I ask you to use pandas to load our CSV data. Okay, because that can help us to translate our data set into a table in our program. Okay, so that will be easier to manipulate our data. Okay, and you can see here the pandas can divide into two parts. One is series and the other is data frame. And now maybe we will rely on data frame to help us to analyze the data. So that is their major difference. Okay. So now you already understand why we needed to use the pandas to call our data set. So you can read our CSV and try to call our data set, and you can give a quick introduction about there. Okay, what is status, what's the bed, what's the bath. Okay, so here maybe today you wanna buy a house in the States. Okay, and you try to analyze all the data, try to understand, oh, if today I wanna buy 2-bed, the house which has a 2-bed, and I need to understand what's the price. Okay, I need to understand if today I wanna buy a 5-bed house, and how much is that. Also, we needed to care about the city, where is that, and we needed to understand the state and the house size. Maybe there's only a two bed, but the house size is big. Okay, so all these things we needed to observe that. Okay, and if today we only see the data, this is a little bit hard to understand the data. But if today we do visualize figures, I think all the things will be easy to observe. Okay, for example, now I want to ask you to tell me. If today I wanna buy a house with 3-bed, and how much is that? What's the price range? what's the price range? I wanna buy a house with 3 bed, and what's the price range? It's hard, right? You need to find out the first house which has a 3 bed, and number 6 also has a 3 bed, and the number 7 also has a 3 bed, number 10 has a 3 bed. So I needed to base on these 4 things and to get an average of their price and to understand how much is that. What's the price around? Okay, so this is a little bit hard, and this is the reason why we needed to use our pandas. And if today I use this way, and this can give us a quick way to understand what's the relationship between the house size and the price. Relationship between house size and price. Okay, so in here is about house size, and from the left to the right, if in right, that means maybe their house size is bigger, and if it's here, that is the smallest one. Okay, and here we can also see the price. Okay, so this is also same with our understanding. If here, maybe this is just a lower price, and if here, the most of the price is higher. Okay, so this is just based on our understanding. Okay, so now please try to analyze your data set. Okay, and find out 2 columns to analyze that. Okay, house size and the price. Okay, you can see my data set. Here has a house size, here has the price. Okay, and maybe I can use the other ways, bed and house size. Maybe I can use this way. So you can see the figures like that, and I can use also change it to the bed. Okay, so if today you wanna buy 5 bed, a house with 5 bed, and the price is higher. Okay, so all these things can depend on your thought and to decide your figures. Okay, so now please try to find out 2 columns from your data set. Okay. 等一下哦。Okay, we keep going, and actually, I think the first of all, you needed to read the CSV, and we assigned a realtor as this CSV file. Okay, so you need to call this CSV realtor, and to get our data set. Okay, so if you not call the realtors, and you can get your data set. Okay, and the realtor is just a name I give them. So actually you can use any name and to use it. Okay. And now maybe we keep going. So you can see that if today you think, oh, I wanna compare the relationship between the bed and the price, but actually that is a little bit not enough. Okay, so maybe I needed to make them more detailed. So I can add the third factors. I will use HUE in here, bath. Okay. So I not only need to understand how many beds in a room, but in a house, I also want to understand the bath. Okay, how many beds in this house? So in here you can see this one. The first, maybe the first one only 1 bed, and in here only one bath. Okay, and this is a little bit strange in here. I can see here there has a house with 5 bed, not only 5 bed, they have 5 bath. Okay, 5 bath in here. So this is the reason why this room is so expensive. Why this room is so expensive? It's higher than the most of house with 5 rooms. Okay, and then in here maybe you have the 6 bed, but you only have the 3 bath. Okay, So this is the reason why the price is not so high in here. Okay, so actually you can compare three factors. You can compare three factors, and if I don't want to use the best, maybe I can change it to the other thing is like I can use this one. Oh, house size. I can use the house size in here. Okay, so you can see this one. They also compare with the house size. Okay, compare with the house size. So if today that is a pink one, and this means this house size is really big. Even they only have the 3 room, but it's because this house is so big, so the price is so high. Okay, so you can gain more understanding about the figures. So you try to analyze with three figures, and you can gain the result. Okay. So now please try to use three factor, and the most of important thing is you need to set your data. You need to set your data. Okay, if you not set your data, that is hard to find out which factor you wanna compare. Okay, and if today that is only a factor, and you need to use a double quote or a single quote in here. Okay, and here you don't need to have a quote. Okay, because that is a variable. It's a variable. We have a variable. Variable realtor is help us to read the CSV. We put the CSV in this variable. Okay. And now you can try to analyze these three factors. And if you finish, and we can have take a break, 10-minute break. Okay, and let's keep going. And now you already understand how to compare the different factors in your data set. Okay, and actually your data set may not really related to original the data set you use, like the Titanic or the other thing. And I think you need to compare with the data set, your data set, and the data set from the Seaborn. I think there has something is different. Okay, and actually I will recommend you to clear your data set. What means clear your data set? Because maybe your data set is not the data set you need to use. You needed to use. Okay, what's the meanings? Maybe I can download for you. Okay, for example, we can go to here and we can find out any CSV data. Maybe I just use the CSV data in here. So that is just the situation I told you. So weird. Why we needed to put the different months data set as a single data. Okay, actually we just use a data set maybe to combine each month. That is enough. But some of our government just want to set up I upload three data sets. But actually they are the similar data. So actually they can put in the different column. Maybe column 1 we can set up the January, and the second column we can set up the February, March, April, May, just like this way. And sometimes that is about can read this data well. Okay. maybe I needed to find out the other data. Okay, maybe later I will find out the other data sets. Let's maybe just move on. Because I just wanna introduce you that maybe you not use your data set at the beginning. Okay, now you get a data set, and today you want to use a Seaborn to analyze the data. But actually, before you use Seaborn, you need to use your Excel. Okay, maybe you don't know how to use the other data analytics technique to organize your data. Okay, so if you don't know, maybe you can do your Excel to organize your data. For example, this is maybe you will face the dilemmas when you use Chinese word. You use Chinese in the data set. Actually, you can change the column. You can change the column. Okay, column 1, maybe that is 名字. You can change it to name. Maybe that is 城市. You can change it to the city. You only need to change the column name, column title. That is enough. Okay, you just do your Excel to do all the things. And maybe you encounter another problem is you wanna compare two factor. And the first factor, maybe all the value is a number. The second column, the second factor, there has a health value is number, and other health, maybe that is a text or a string. Okay, so you needed to change this string to a number. Like maybe the string is 没有资料, 没有遗漏. You just change the 没有资料遗漏, like know the words and the missing. You change all these kind of text into a number is 0, because that is the same meaning, right? Okay, so this is the reason why I told you before we using the Seaborn, you needed to analyze, you needed to organize in your Excel file. Okay, and other thing is, for example, today you wanna compare maybe we got the data set. There in this data set we have all the cities their data, all cities data, and each city they has their. For example, this data set they including each month each city's data. Each month each city's data. For example, in Taipei, in January, they have the 100 new kids. Okay, in February, Taipei, they have 200 new kids. Okay, so you needed to organize. Maybe you needed to compare the year, but you only get the monthly data. So you needed to combine the whole year data into a yearly data. Okay, this means you need to combine from the January to the December in Taipei, how many kids born in this city. Okay, and that will become a new column, a new line. Okay, so you just compare these new lines. Okay, this will easier to conduct the comparison. Okay, if today you wanna compare, you see a data set there has a Taipei in January. They have 100 new key, and February they have Taipei has 300 new key, and February New Taipei City they have 500 new keys. How to compare these city? This is too hard. So actually you need to combine all the factors, all the issue into a integrated Excel file, an integrated CSV file before you using your Seaborn. Okay. But sometimes if you are really understand how to use the pandas, all these things you can use the pandas to deal with. Okay. So maybe we just keep going, because today I only wanna focus on the plotting to let you understand how many plots you can use in your final project. Okay. And here is this plot. Okay. And in this plot, that is a combination. This is a combination between the histogram and the KDE curve. Histogram is just, we call this as 直条图, and the KDE curve is just 密度图. Okay, and you can see the KDE curve is this curve. This curve will become more smoothly. They just wanna show the data smoothly. So if today you wanna set up a KDE curve, that can help you to understand the trend. Okay. So first of all, maybe we want to use this plot. You just set a data set and which column you want to use, and that can help us to this plot. Okay, I can show you this one. Maybe we can go to here. Okay. Histogram mode. Okay. And we can use this plot in the realtor house size. What's a realtor? Oh. Okay, and in here is the histogram mode, and we wanna use this plot, and we use realtor. What's realtor? Realtor is our data set. It's this data set. So this is depends on which data set you use. Okay. And now I want to use the realtor data set, and I want to has a plot with their house size. Okay, with the histogram mode, and I can see this one. So we can see if today the house size, okay, you can see the most of the house, their house size is smaller. Okay, if today you wanna buy a big house, maybe this is smaller package you can find out. Okay, so this is about as this plot, realtor house size. Okay, and maybe you can also change the other factor like a bed. Okay, so you can see the situation and an overview about the data set. Okay, so you just use this way. You need the first thing is the data set, and the second thing is the column title. So you need to find out a column title in here and to this plot. Okay, so now please to find out which column you want to create a histogram mode. Okay, and I think in these 2 weeks I just teach you about the data visualization, and actually before the data visualization there still has a lot of work we needed to deal with. For example, we needed to organize the data, we needed to conduct the data manipulation, and in next week I will teach you about the data manipulation, just how to organize the data. But the data manipulation is the most difficult things, I think, because there needed a lot of understanding about all the technique about the data processes. So, but this is a more boring things. Okay, this is a boring thing. I think visualization is more interesting. So I think if the next week you think, oh, data processing is too hard for you, okay, and maybe you can just use Excel to deal with the most of data processing problem. Okay, but if you need, you can tell me. I use a data processing skill. I use a pandas. To clear my data. Maybe some empty columns I just replace by the other word. all the things, all the techniques I do by the pandas, and I think I will give you another extra point. Yes, because I think you already understand how to manipulate the data, how to process the data. Okay, but in these 2 weeks, I just want to make sure you can understand. Oh, data visualization is an interesting thing. Okay, if you think that is interesting, and I think you can keep going. But if you think, wow, data processing is too hard, maybe you will give up. Okay, so this is the reasons I show you how to conduct the data visualization in these 2 weeks, not later. Okay, so let's keep going. And by the way, if you have any problem, you encounter any problem, maybe you can discuss with my teaching assistant just in each Monday and 5 o'clock in our 4th floor, and there has a room, and you can go to there. There has a three guy will answer your question. Okay, 2 is your classmates just from our Department of Computer Science. Okay, you can raise your hand. The 2 teaching assistant from the computer science, please raise your hand, and then we'll answer your question. Okay, they say this is just a little bit boring because certain people find out this resource, but actually they are happy to answer all your questions. So if you need, you just go there. Okay, so let's keep going. Here is about the box plot. Box plot. Box plot is also a statistical graph used to display the dispersions of a set of the data. It shows the maximum value, minimum value, median, and upper and lower quantities of the data set. So we just do a box plot, so we can give an understanding of, oh, what's the median, what's the upper, what's the lower. Okay, this is easier to understand. So we call this a box plot. Okay, so before we use box plots, maybe you need to understand what is box plot. Okay, box plots are useful for quickly approximating where the data is centered. Okay, maybe in the minimum, this is the first quarter, and the maximum, and this is the last quarter, and the middle one, that is a 50%. That is our median. Okay, so that will help you to easier to understand what's the data. Okay, how about the data? And actually, I want to ask you, if you want to use box plots, and please try to use a specific term to describe it. What's a specific term? Normally, we will see a situation is symmetric. Symmetry, you will see the central part is a higher one. And the second one is right skew. Right skew, you will see the central one is in the left-hand side. Okay, they will more emphasize in the lower one. Okay, if today you emphasize the higher one, and the higher one gain a higher proportion, and we will call this as left skew. Okay, so you need to try to describe and try to interpret why this situation will become the right skew, why this will become the left skew. Okay, then just like if today you want to test the TOEFL and you want to test the GRE, you need to answer the figure. You needed to give an illustration about the figure. Okay, so you needed to try to answer it. Why? You get a result like this figure, and then you needed to tell me why that will emerge a situation like a right skew, why that emerge another situation like left skew. Okay, so you needed to try to explain it. So that is symmetry, right skew, and left skew. Okay. Actually, I think maybe it depends on the meaning from the words. I will guess that is left skew, and here is right skew, because I think that is in my right hand side. Here is my left hand side, but actually this is different. That is right skew, and here is left skew. Okay. And here we can try to use another data set. We can try to use the same data set is data realtor, and we can set up is X is bed, Y is price, and this is box plot. And actually there is really easy, right? We only needed to use a box plot in here. This is just a little bit different from this plot or the other plot. Okay, so please try to use a box plot and try to produce a figure like that. I think this figure is certainly interesting. Okay, and this is not needed to many works, and you can draw a picture like that, and you will feel, oh, I can illustrate the figures by myself through our data skill. Okay, so I think this is the means I told you. This is an advanced course to show your data analysis capability, and actually there has so many things. It's not certainly hard and to achieve it. Okay, and I want to ask you a question is, you can guess that maybe sometimes we needed to data process and another part is data analysis. Okay, in our data work, that can divide our data work into two parts. One is data processing, and then another one is data analysis. What's the proportion of these two? What's the proportion of these two? Which one is the major work for our data analytics? You can guess that. How much is the proportion of our data processing? How much proportion is our data processing? Anyone wanna guess? You can guess. Data processing. We only have two things: data processing and the data analysis. And what about data processing? Give me a number. 5? Only 5? Okay. And do you have any number give me? 80 is data processing? Do you want to have a fight? Because that is a totally different. One is 5, one is 80. And any other answer? How about you two? Already get an answer now? 80 is great. Okay. And actually I want to tell you, maybe it depends on the industry experience. There's a 70% is in data processing. 70%. So data analysis is really easy. So this is the reason why I want to teach you about data analysis. Okay, I just want to tell you how many the function and you can use. How many the function, what's the module you can use. So you have an understanding. Oh, I can use this module to do a specific things. But if today you want to be really good at data processing, that is, maybe you needed to pick up the advanced course, maybe in computer science department or something. Okay, maybe you just lose your interest in this course, and I will be fail. I think for me, my major thing in BA department is just want to make sure that most of people you can have breadth to deal with data analysis, to be breadth with our coding. Okay, so in this course I will not want to make you to feel so difficult with our coding, with our programming language. Okay, so I try to let you to understand why I want to do this. Okay, so let's keep going. And here, this is about data set is iris. Data set is iris. The iris data set is classic flower data set. This was extracted by the British statistician and Fishers in 1936. Okay, so this is about the length and the width of petal and the speckle of iris flowers. So sepal is 花萼 sepal is 花二 and the petal is 花瓣. Petal is 花瓣. So this is a really interesting data set. In this data set, they show about sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width, and they also give you the species about the flower, the setosa, the versicolors, and the virginica. Okay, there has different species in there. So let's just see this data set. And what is iris? I don't know what is iris, so maybe we just search it. And you can find out this. This is iris. This is iris. So now we just set up a data set to recode all the data. And we can go to our data set to see this one. Iris SNS load data set. So you can see this sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width, and species. So maybe this data set is trying to make us to understand, oh, if today you have the same species, maybe you have the similar length and a similar width. Okay, we try to find out the rules. And some people, maybe they will use machine learning, try to train it, okay, from this data set. Okay, but now maybe we just use a visualized way and to help you to understand. And now you can use SNS real plot, and we can use sepal length and the petal length, and we try to get an understanding about it. You can see like this one. Okay, if your sepal length is lower, smaller, and you will have a lower petal length. Okay, if you are high, large one, and you will give a large one length. Okay, so that is REL plot, real plot. And maybe this is not enough, so I try to add another 3 factor is our sepal width. So you can see like this one. If your width is higher, and you can see this one. And if your width is lower, and you can see this will in here. Okay, so please try to your real plot and to deal with your data set. Okay. Okay, you can try to see this one. We can keep going. Okay. And the other thing I want to introduce with you is Seaborn figure styles. And actually there has 4 types of the styles, and the first one is white grid, dark, white, and thick. Okay, and you can depend on your February, your interest to try to find out one of them. Okay, so we can go to here, and you can maybe later I will show you what is about this 4 style. And now the other thing is cat plot. Okay, that is we just try to discuss the relationship between a numerical and one or more category variable. Okay, maybe you needed to compare with, oh, maybe in the different days, and we will get the different bill. What's the bill? 小费. Okay, because in the States, the people will give the bills, okay? And we can see like this one, okay? At the beginning, we needed to set up SNS set styles. Okay, so the first sentence is to set up the styles. So you can set up as the thick, and you can also set up as a white grid. You can also set up the dark. It depends on you. So which style you wanna use is okay. But if you don't know, if you don't use, maybe that is just a white mode, so you don't need to set. Okay, they always has their default mode. And the second one is flight. Okay, we want to SNS load the data set flight. Okay, that just help us to load the data set from the flight. And the second one, and the third one is the important one. We just use a cat plot. So you will find out that no matter today you use a cat plot, you use this plot, real plot, or the plot, there is just easy. You always need a data set in here, but you need to decide what's the factor you wanna compare. What's the factor you wanna compare? And normally you have the two factors you can compare. So in here we can compare with the X and Y. So in X is a passenger, in Y is a month. So this is easier to observe that. Okay. And sometimes maybe you think, oh, just compare the month and the passenger, this is boring. Maybe we can compare with the Y. We can set up our X as our year. Okay. So if you can use the year, the difference, the relationship between the year and the passenger, and you can find out that here is more centralized. Here is more centralized. And here is a huge range. Okay, maybe it's from the maybe 350 to the 600. There has a difference between the 250. But in here, their difference is not more than 50 passenger. Okay, so if we compare with the year and the passenger, and we can gain the other idea about it. So you can try to use a different factor, different column, and try to conduct the comparison. Okay, so there is cat plot. And also in the cat plot, you can also set up the different kind, like that is a violin. Okay, that will just like this one. Okay, so it has a lot of months. They just set up around 100, maybe 20 or 30 passenger in 1949, and in 1960, and their range just is huge. Okay, so from the 700 to the 300, maybe each month is just different. So that's this figure is thin, more thin in here, and here will more higher proportion in here. Okay, so I can set up the violin to get some another insight from that. Okay, so now please try to use the cat plot. You can try to use the cat plot. I can go to here and you can use this. You can try to compare you can try to set up the style, and you can also compare with you use cat plot to compare two factor, and you can also set up the kind. Okay, and you will understand what is cat plot. So actually you can set up the different categories, and like kind of straight, kind of strong, kind of box, kind of violin. All these things can depend on yourself and to set up the different category in here. And the last one I want to introduce you is about KDE plot. Okay, I think this figure is just awesome, and this is just like a cool thing in here. And we can see here is a kernel density estimate plot, and the most of time we will code it as a KDE plot. Okay, a method for visualizing the distribution of observation in the data set. Okay, and the most important thing is we needed to use in a continuous probability density curve. Okay, continuous. Okay, you need to make sure the data is a continuous data. Okay, and here maybe I will use the data set with the tips. Okay, the data set contain information about various aspects of restaurant tips. Okay, including the total bill amount, the tip amount given by customer, the gender by customer. So we will understand, oh, maybe they pay more, they maybe has a big meal and they need to pay more, and they will more interesting to give you a higher tip to our service. Okay, so we can see the data set is just like this one, and if we use a KT plot in here, and you can only see a boring figure like that because you only put one factor in here, KT plot. If you only put one factor in there, that is not enough. So we can see here. Okay, we can load the data set at the beginning, so you can see this one is a total bill and the tip and the sex, the smoker or day or time or size. Okay, so how many people in there. So they have 244 records in there. So now I try to load our data set and I try to use a KD plus in here, and I only put one data in here, X. Okay. So you can see here the total bill with densities, their relationship is just like that one. And if today you use a KDE plot, okay, and we want to compare the total bill and use a shade with true, color with green, like this one. Okay, shade with just we want to feel something in this figure or not. Okay, if you not set up the shade, maybe that will just become the empty. But if you set up the shade, and that will fill this figure. Okay, and the color, I will set up the green, and maybe if you use R, what's the meaning? That meaning is that will help transfer these figures in red mode. Okay, so you can use a different color and to represent it. But to here, you will find out this is just really different from our expectation, because in our expectation, the KD curve needed to be like this one. Okay, but how to get a KD plot in here? I think the most important thing is we need to put the two things in here. Not only put the X, we only put the HUE. Okay, so we can depend on this. Okay, if today I only put X and the HUE will just like this one. Okay, and let's just compare 2 times. Okay, maybe in lunch time, the people will not like to give you the tips, and if it's in dinner, then the people is more likely to give you more tips. So it depends on this KD plot I can see there. Okay, and actually, you can understand, or if today I use this, maybe this is not a good data set to use our KDE plot. So I will recommend you to create a random number like this one. Okay, I can use a NumPy NP random ANDN. Okay, because I needed to create a continuous numbers in here. So if I use NP random INDN, okay, this can help us to create 100 number in this array. 100 number in this array. Okay, and so now I create one group is 100 number, and the second group is another 100 number. So I use KD plus. I put X and Y in the same time, and to see the shade, this will just like this one. This will just like this one. So I needed to put 2 numbers. I needed to put the 2 array in here, so this can help me to show like this one. And maybe in here you will feel a little bit weird why I want to pre-HUE. Is it possible I put this as the Y? And I also compare with the tip. I also compare with the tip. So just like this one. Okay, you can also use the data set to create a KD plot, but sometimes I will more introduce you to create use a random number to create a plot, KD plot. Okay, because if you use this way, maybe this is not a good one and not easy to observe something. But if today you use a continuous number, and this is easier to create a pretty figure like this one. Okay. So today I will just stop in here, and next week we will discuss about how to processing our data. Okay. Bye bye.